Imagine life as a video game, where dopamine is the power-up that keeps you playing. You know, that magical spark that ignites when you've achieved a high score or completed a challenging level. That's dopamine, folks. It's our brain's way of celebrating success, a chemical fist bump that says, hey, good job. Now, what exactly is dopamine? It's a type of neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger that transmits signals in the brain and other vital areas. It's often known as the feel-good neurotransmitter because it's responsible for feelings of pleasure and satisfaction. It's what makes us crave, desire, and strive for things. It's the driving force behind our most intricate thoughts, feelings, and emotions. But here's where things get interesting. In our modern world, we're bombarded with endless sources of instant gratification, technology, unhealthy food, binge-watching TV series, and scrolling through social media feeds. These things spike our dopamine levels, giving us a quick fix of instant pleasure. It's like having unlimited power-ups in your video game. Sounds great, right? Well, not quite. You see, when dopamine levels are constantly high, we're in a state of dopamine overload, and just like a car engine that's been revved too hard for too long, things start to break down. The same tasks that used to bring us joy no longer do. The same goals that used to motivate us now seem dull and uninteresting. We're constantly chasing that next dopamine hit, but each hit feels less satisfying than the last. It's like playing a video game on easy mode with unlimited power-ups. Initially, it's fun and exciting, but soon, the game loses its challenge. The thrill of overcoming obstacles, the satisfaction of achieving goals, all of it becomes mundane. The game becomes too easy, and you lose interest. But what happens when the game becomes too easy, and the power-ups are everywhere? You lose interest. And that, my friends, is where the concept of dopamine detox comes in, which we'll dive into in the next scene. So, stay tuned. Imagine eating your favorite food every day, all day. Sounds great, right? But soon, it loses its charm and becomes mundane. Let's delve into why this happens. You see, our brains operate on a reward system, and dopamine is the star player. Whenever we do something enjoyable, like eating our favorite food, our brain releases dopamine and we feel great. It's a reward for engaging in beneficial behaviors. But here's the catch. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. When we indulge in these dopamine-releasing activities constantly, our brain essentially gets used to this high level of dopamine. It builds a tolerance. This means that over time you need more and more of the activity to get the same level of enjoyment. It's the same principle as developing a tolerance to caffeine or alcohol. But the problems don't stop there. This constant bombardment of dopamine can lead to an overload, which has some pretty serious consequences. These includes a decrease in our productivity, a lack of motivation, and even a decrease in our overall happiness. You might be thinking, but dopamine makes us feel good, right? Yes, it does, but in moderation. Think of it like this. If you're always on a dopamine high, then nothing seems special anymore. Everything just blends into a dull monotone. The things that used to bring you joy no longer do. You're constantly seeking the next hit of dopamine, and in the process, you're missing out on the simple pleasures of life. This constant seeking of dopamine can also lead to addictive behaviors. You might find yourself scrolling through social media for hours on end, binge-watching shows, or overeating, all in an attempt to get that dopamine hit. But these activities are just empty calories for your brain. They give a quick burst of pleasure, but they don't provide any lasting satisfaction or fulfillment. So you see, overindulgence in dopamine-releasing activities isn't as great as it might initially seem. It can lead to a cycle of tolerance, addiction, and dissatisfaction. Just like your favorite food losing its charm, life too becomes less exciting when you're always on a dopamine high. Now, imagine resetting the game. The power-ups are scarce, and the game is challenging again. That's dopamine detox for you. Dopamine detox, or dopamine fasting as it's sometimes called, is more of a concept than a strict regimen. It's about taking a step back, a pause if you will, from the constant bombardment of dopamine-triggering activities that we partake in and day out. The idea is to abstain from activities that release high amounts of dopamine, such as social media scrolling, binge-watching TV shows, or indulging in junk food, for a set period of time. Now, why would anyone want to do that, you might ask? Well, it's all about resetting the brain's reward system. See, the brain is an amazing organ. It's adaptable, it learns, it changes. But sometimes it can get a little too accustomed to the high levels of dopamine we're feeding it. This can lead to a sort of dopamine tolerance, making it harder for us to derive pleasure from simple things in life. That's where dopamine detox comes in. By reducing the dopamine noise, we allow our brains to recalibrate, to reset. we start appreciating the smaller, quieter sources of dopamine, the ones that are sustainable, healthy, and ultimately more fulfilling. We start to feel pleasure in reading a good book, taking a walk in the park, or having a heart-to-heart conversation with a loved one. Life, in essence, becomes more enjoyable. It's like turning down the volume on a loud song so you can hear the subtle harmonies and melodies. It's about finding joy and satisfaction in the simple, everyday experiences that we often overlook or take for granted. It's about making life exciting and challenging again, not through artificial highs, but through real, meaningful experiences. So think of dopamine detox as a reset button, a way to regain control, a way to make life more fulfilling, a way to take back your power and steer your life in the direction you want. Dopamine detox is like hitting the reset button on your brain's reward system, making life exciting and challenging again. Ready to press the reset button? Here's how you can start your dopamine detox journey. First, limit your screen time. Our devices are dopamine factories, constantly seducing us with notifications and updates. Try designating screen-free hours each day. Next, nourish your body with healthy food. Good nutrition supports brain health, and a healthy brain can better regulate dopamine. Then, get moving. Regular exercise is a natural and healthy way to stimulate dopamine production. Finally, practice mindfulness. Whether it's meditation, yoga, or simply taking a moment to breathe, mindfulness helps us to stay present and resist the lure of instant gratification. It's about making small, conscious choices every day to regain control of your dopamine, not to eliminate it. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate dopamine but to regain control over it. Embark on this journey, and you'll be on your way to taking back control over your life. So, are you ready to take back control over your life? We've explored the power of dopamine and how overindulgence can lead us astray, but we've also dug deep into the art of dopamine detox, showing how it's not just possible but essential for a healthier, happier life. Imagine a life not dictated by the next rush, the next high. A life where you're in the driver's seat, not some rogue neurotransmitter. That's the life you can lead with a successful dopamine detox. And here's the exciting part, you can start today. And when you do, we'd love to hear about your journey. Share your experiences, your triumphs, your challenges, because you're not alone in this journey. You're part of a community, a movement. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to join our community and start your dopamine detox journey. Until next time, remember, you have the power to take back control over your life.